You are standing at the edge of something that terrifies you. Your heart is racing, your mind is screaming. This is impossible. You will fail. You will drown. But then you hear a voice that says, "Do not be afraid. Come." And in that moment, you have a choice. You can listen to your fear, or you can listen to your faith. This is the moment that defines everything. This is Peter's story, and it might be your moment too. Welcome back to Learn English with Great Minds. In the last video, we discovered that transformation begins with identity. We learned that Jesus renamed Simon Peter, which means rock. We understood that your identity determines your reality, but knowing this intellectually is not the same as living it. Peter is about to discover this truth in the most dramatic way possible. He is about to face his deepest fear, and in that moment, he will discover something extraordinary about the nature of faith. Over the next 10 minutes, you will learn not only about Peter's incredible experience, but also about the English vocabulary that describes how faith conquers fear. If you have not watched the first video in this series, please go back and watch it now, because this video builds directly on that foundation. Let's continue Peter's journey. The boat is in the middle of the sea. It is late at night. The disciples are rowing, struggling against the wind. The sea is rough. The waves are enormous. The wind is strong and relentless, and the disciples are terrified. They have been trained fishermen. They know the sea. They understand boats and nets and water. But this storm is different. This storm is overwhelming. This storm feels like it might destroy them. And then, something impossible happens. They see a figure walking toward them, walking on the water, not in a boat, not swimming, walking, as though the water were solid ground. At first, the disciples think it is a ghost. They cry out in fear. They think they are seeing something supernatural and terrifying. But then the figure speaks, and the voice is familiar. It is Jesus. Jesus says, "Do not be afraid. It is I." But Peter does something extraordinary. While the other disciples remain in the boat, paralyzed by fear, Peter speaks. Peter says, "Lord, if that is you, tell me to come to you on the water." Think about what Peter is doing. He is not asking for proof. He is not asking for an explanation of how this is possible. He is simply asking for permission to do something that seems completely impossible. And Jesus says one word, "Come." And Peter does something that defies logic. He steps out of the boat. He places his foot on the water, and he walks. He actually walks on the water. He walks toward Jesus. How is this possible? How can a human being walk on water? According to the laws of physics, it is impossible. According to reason, it cannot happen. But Peter is not thinking about physics. Peter is not thinking about reason. Peter is thinking about Jesus. Peter is focused on the one who called him. And in that focus, the impossible becomes real. This is the moment we must understand. Peter's faith is not about believing that walking on water is theoretically possible. Peter's faith is about trusting Jesus so completely that he is willing to act, even though it defies everything he knows about reality. Faith is not passive. Faith is not simply believing something in your mind. Faith is acting on your belief. Faith is doing something that requires complete trust. Faith is stepping out of the boat when every instinct tells you not to. And Peter walks on water. He actually walks on water. His feet touch the surface of the sea, and they do not sink. He moves toward Jesus, step by step, toward the one who called him. In that moment, Peter is not afraid. In that moment, Peter is not doubting. In that moment, Peter is experiencing something that most people never experience, the reality of faith in action. But then something changes. Peter looks at the wind. He sees the storm. He sees the enormous waves. He takes his eyes off Jesus and places them on the danger around him. And in that moment, doubt enters. And doubt is different from fear. Fear is an emotion. Fear is something that happens to you. But doubt is a choice. Doubt happens when you choose to believe in the problem instead of the promise. Peter begins to sink. His feet, which were walking on solid water, now begin to go down. The water, which was solid beneath him, now becomes liquid again. He is drowning. "Lord, save me, I am drowning," he cries out. And Jesus, standing just a few steps away, reaches out and catches him. But listen to what Jesus says. "Why did you doubt? Why did your faith become so small? You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Notice that Jesus does not ask, "Why did you become afraid?" Fear is an emotion. You cannot always control your initial emotional reaction. But doubt is a choice. And Peter made that choice when he shifted his focus from Jesus to the storm. This is the crucial lesson. Where you place your attention determines your reality. While Peter's eyes were on Jesus, he walked on water. When Peter's eyes were on the storm, he began to sink. Now let's extract the principle from this story. Because this is not just about Peter. This is about you. This is about your life right now. You are facing storms. You are facing circumstances that feel overwhelming. You are facing situations that seem impossible. And you have a choice to make. You can focus on the storm. You can focus on the size of the problem. You can focus on why it is impossible. You can focus on all the reasons why you will fail. And if you do this, you will sink. You will be overwhelmed. You will be paralyzed by fear and doubt. Or you can do what Peter did. You can focus on Jesus. You can focus on the one who called you. You can focus on faith instead of fear. But here is something important. Faith does not mean the storm disappears. The storm is still there. The wind is still blowing. The waves are still enormous. But when your focus is on faith, the storm no longer controls you. When your focus is on Jesus, you can walk through the storm without being destroyed by it. This is the paradox of faith. Faith does not eliminate your circumstances. Faith eliminates the power of your circumstances over you. Let's review the key English words from today's video. These words describe the battle between fear and faith. When we say Peter was afraid, we mean he experienced an emotion caused by the belief that something was dangerous. The storm was real. The danger was real. So fear was a natural response. In the sentence, "The storm began to paralyze the disciples," we mean the fear made them unable to move or act. They were frozen. They could not think clearly. They could not act effectively. When we talk about doubt, we mean the feeling of uncertainty about something. But as we learned, doubt is different from fear. Doubt is a choice. Peter chose to doubt when he shifted his focus from Jesus to the storm. When we say Peter began to sink, we mean he started to go down into the water. This is literal in the story, but it is also metaphorical. When you focus on your problems instead of your faith, you sink emotionally and spiritually. When we say someone has courage, we mean they have the ability to do something difficult despite being afraid. Peter had courage. He was afraid, but he stepped out of the boat anyway. When we talk about faith, we mean complete trust or confidence in someone or something. But more than that, faith is acting on that trust. Faith is stepping out of the boat when everything tells you not to. When we say Peter's focus shifted, we mean his attention moved from one thing to another. While his focus was on Jesus, he walked on water. When his focus shifted to the storm, he began to sink. When we say someone will overcome a challenge, we mean they will succeed in dealing with it or controlling it. Peter overcame his fear when he stepped out of the boat, and you can overcome your fear too. Now you understand the second chapter of Peter's transformation. You understand that faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is action despite fear. You understand that where you place your focus determines your reality. But this knowledge is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you apply this to your own life. So here's my challenge for you. Identify one storm in your life right now. One situation that feels overwhelming. One circumstance that makes you want to give up. And then ask yourself, where is my focus? Am I focusing on the problem? Or am I focusing on faith? If you want to discover what happens when Peter faces his greatest failure, if you want to understand how redemption works, then you need to watch the third video in this series. But before that, I need you to do 3 things. First, like this video. Share that you are choosing faith over fear. Second, subscribe and turn on notifications, because in just a few days, you will see what happens when Peter denies Jesus, and you will see how he is restored. Third, comment below. Tell me, what is your storm? What are you afraid of? How will you shift your focus from the problem to your faith? I read and respond to every comment personally. Remember this, your storm is real, your fear is real, but your faith can be greater. You can walk on water, you can overcome, you can transform. Until the next video, work in silence, pray in silence, overcome in silence.